The other day, I was streaming Nintendo Switch, and I happened to see that Sonic Forces, the game that was announced to celebrate Sonic's 25th anniversary, was on sale for $9, $10, $9.99. So I went ahead, bought it, played it, and dropped it after 5 minutes. It was a piece of shit. And I've realized since then, going back to the classics, I have my Sonic Gems collection over there. 30 years in, Sonic is now officially an old fuck, and so are his fans. Sonic is a dead, declining franchise. In a lot of ways, that has never really been any good. Let's be real with ourselves. Sonic was never good. To celebrate Sonic's 30 years of being not good, I thought we would do a retrospective. We would go back, play every single Sonic game, and remind everyone just how terrible they are. Like, from the Dreamcast to the Genesis to the modern day, Sonic was never good. It's hard to believe it's been 30 years since this game came out. 30 years of Sonic just running to the right, his legs are spinning, jumping up into a ball, narrowly avoiding any obstacle that comes in his path. It's really strange coming back to this after such a long hiatus, such a long break, because playing this again, playing this as an adult who has played every single major 3D platformer, 3D and 2D platformer from Nintendo, some of the best games ever made, from Super Mario 64 to Super Mario Bros., Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country. I legit could probably just compare this game to any single Mario game on any console, from any era, from any period, from any developer, right? Any genre even. And Sonic the Hedgehog would come up short. Like, this game could not compete with Super Mario World. It could not compete with Yoshi's Island. And I think the only people who don't agree with that fact are fanboys who grew up with the Sega Genesis and not a Super Nintendo. I refuse to believe that this game, where you hold right and mash A occasionally to launch yourself, propel yourself past a number of obstacles, can in any way has a fan base comparable to Mario's. It doesn't. I think we need to discuss this, the true secret behind Sonic's popularity, before we really talk about the game itself, because the real reason Sonic is popular, the only reason Sonic is popular, the only reason we're even discussing this mediocre 2D platformer to begin with, was the marketing campaign. The only reason Sonic was ever popular was because of Sega's extensive advertising campaign promoting Sonic and attacking Nintendo, like promoting Sega as being the cool kid alternative to Nintendo's dorky, nerdy kid. Oh, Sonic's so much better, man. You go so much faster. You'll beat the game in an hour, and then you'll be so much faster than the rest of the kids in class. Blast processing, man. In a lot of respects, it's not all that different from what we're seeing today with PC gamers and the PlayStation community, right? Where they constantly pretend they have better graphics, better visuals, better frame rates, better games in a lot of cases, more mature storylines, when none of that really matters in the long run. Like, seeing Sonic in action today, as someone who's played Donkey Kong Country, someone who's played all these great 2D Super Nintendo games, someone who's 100%ed Super Mario World several times, Sonic is all style and no substance. To put it very, very simply, that is the core of Sonic the Hedgehog, I think. All style and no substance. Sonic looks like he's going fast, tearing through these levels at Mach speeds, throwing himself across these narrow platforms, like avoiding spikes, fighting crazy bosses, freeing animals at the end. Like, I've heard people say this game has like a really good pro-environmental message. I've heard people say Sonic is a really memorable design, one of the best 2D platforming mascots ever. I've heard people say this game controls well, that it plays well, that it has great level design, that its pacing is really good. No. Compared to its direct competition, Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, Sonic the Hedgehog falls incredibly short. It is an incredibly simplistic, short, easy game that can be beaten in under an hour. Meanwhile, Super Mario World is bursting with secrets, hidden routes, an amazing amount of replay value, depth, power-ups, like secret exits. Like, there are all sorts of reasons for people to go back and play Super Mario World over and over and over and over again. And as an adult, someone who has now grown up with Sonic the Hedgehog, who has extensively played all these games, I can safely tell you that Sonic the Hedgehog does not measure up. Sonic the Hedgehog does not have, as a game, does not function nearly as well as Super Mario World. As a game, it is simplistic, it is easy, it is not well designed. There are plenty of segments in this footage I recorded where I deal with some obstacle and I just sort of allow myself to get hurt and then grab the rings that I drop. Fundamentally, like, the entire health system is fundamentally flawed, right? Because as long as you have a ring, you're going to be fine. And as long as you can get that ring, you are functionally invincible. There's nothing really that can stop you unless you get, like, in a weird situation. But, like, by and large, for the most part, you're going to be breezing through this game. If you have any remote knowledge of like this game and its level layouts, you're going to be breezing through this game from left to right, like just like that. Like there's no skill involved, there's no thinking involved. It's complete mindless drivel. It is lazy, it is boring, it is pathetic, it is lazy. Like Sonic the Hedgehog is just not a very good video game. It's not a good video game. It's not a good mascot platformer from the Genesis. There are a number of Super Nintendo titles that I could name that outdo it. Like Congo's Caper, a game that I think is probably mediocre by Super Nintendo standards, probably outdoes this game in the whole like charming mascot personality aspect. There's nothing here other than the fact that this is a Sonic game. This is the game that was hyped up by the media, promoted by Sega, and the mainstay of the console. Like, it has nothing to do with actual, interesting, engaging video games. It's just the character that Sega was marketing at the time. Now, you can see this a lot when it comes to the Genesis library, is that a lot of games that, like, people remember from the Genesis era, the games that were like heavily marketed, a lot of people have never actually finished a lot of them. I would say like a major example, probably the major example, is the original Echo the Dolphin, which was heavily promoted by Sega. Like, it's a game where you play as a dolphin man and you have to navigate the ocean's depths. Isn't that cool? Isn't that badass? Well, nobody actually played it. like people popped it in, rented it or whatever, and they just never played it again. Sega fundamentally did not know how to make good home console video games. And as a result of that, Sonic never could compete with what Nintendo was producing along the same time. Like, Sonic came out, what happened? You know, we get Super Mario World, we get DKC, we get Super Metroid, we get DKC 2. Like, the Donkey Kong Country trilogy alone is probably stronger than all three Sonic the Hedgehog games. And I'm only saying probably because of DKC 3, which I don't really care for all that much. Sonic, fundamentally, by and large, just is not good. It's not good. It can't compete with Nintendo. It's not good enough. And every game in the series is like this. This is the main reason I want to go through like every single game in Sonic the Hedgehog. Like just to remind all of you, like 30 years later, that no one is playing the original Sonic the Hedgehog. Nobody cares. Nobody remembers this character anymore. Other than a few nostalgic 30-year-old fucks who grew up with this game and think it's the think it's the think it's the tits. Nobody cares about the character. It's a dead, dying brand, and that's a good thing. Like Sonic, like a lot of people celebrated Sonic coming to Nintendo, but me personally, I want to see this character gone. Like I am sick of seeing him everywhere. As a kid, it was obnoxious seeing like him constantly showing up in new games, getting praised by the media just for being Sonic, and it resulted in me just despising the character. I remember meeting a kid on the playground talking about video games, and he kept trying to tell me that Sega was the best, Sega was the best, Sega was the best, and he wouldn't listen to me at all. Like when it comes to like Nintendo's for queers or whatever. He said Sega's the best. Keep in mind this was in like 2004, and it really dawned on me just how brainwashed, how empty-headed, how mindless these Sega fanboys are. Like how they'll just blindly defend and hate on Nintendo simply because Sega told them to. It's gone on even today on some message boards, on some forums, on some YouTube comments. Like it just never lets up. It's pathetic. I hate it. Like, play a Super Nintendo. Like, damn. Sonic isn't just bad. It's probably one of the all-time worst video game franchises, period. And because so many people, like you, enabled Sega to continue pumping out these games so long, we continued to get increasingly mediocre and poor games as time went on. Like the Genesis era, the original game, the one that I just finished railing on, is only the golden age of Sonic the Hedgehog. It was all downhill from here, with terrible spin-off titles, from the entries on future consoles, including games like Sonic R and Sonic Racing, including games like Sonic R and Sonic Adventure, games that followed Sega going third party, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors, Sonic Lost World, Sonic Forces, Sonic 06. It's a never-ending parade of just terrible, terrible video games. The meme I always hear among enthusiasts, among like these hack gaming YouTube essayists, among game journalists, hashtag Gamergate, don't trust game journalists. The story, the narrative that I always hear is that Sonic had a rough transition into 3D. No, it didn't. Castlevania had a rough transition to 3D. A lot of fighting game franchises had a rough transition into 3D. Pokemon arguably had a rough transition into 3D. There are all these franchises that came out, had some growing pains or what have you, and then found their niche when it came to 3D gaming, whether it was like going back to the 2D style like Mortal Kombat did after a string of really terrible 3D games, or still constantly innovating and trying new things like Pokemon. Sonic never did that. Sonic Adventure, from the very beginning, was a broken mess with a lot of half-baked ideas that didn't really work all that well, like multiple playable characters, none of which were fun to play as, or were just simple rehashes of the Sonic levels. The simple fact is, Sonic Adventure is 20 years old now. Sonic has somehow not evolved or changed since then. It hasn't really improved at all. And one of the things that really struck me when I was playing Sonic Forces is I legitimately believe that games like Sonic Adventure, like Sonic Heroes, like a number of these other Sonic games, Sonic 06, have better production values. I think they look better. I think they play better in a lot of respects. Sonic is getting worse. And I don't really see a lot of people rising up and really acknowledging that. Because that would be standing against their idol. That would be like tearing down this pillar of their childhood that they just can't do without. And to that I say, fuck your childhood. Grow the fuck up. Like, the reason you're so miserable, the reason you can't get a date, the reason you don't have a good job, the reason you're not happy in your life is because you've never been able to move past this mindset that a blue hedgehog is somehow important, is somehow an important part of your life. You desperately waited for years for Sonic to be good again. You hyped up a mediocre movie. You have nostalgia for average animated series. People will try and tell you the comic series are good when really, when you get right down to it, as a franchise, as a series, as just about anything you can imagine when it comes to the gaming sphere, there's no reason to be a fan of Sonic. It has no positive qualities. There is nothing really keeping you in the clutches of this blue hedgehog other than your blind worship for the company Sega. Being obsessed with a children's franchise is no good. This video was brought to you by blackcatbooks.org. I am Cody Lee, author of Rabbit Hole and Cruel and Beautiful, and I thank you for taking the time for watching my video.